I don't really like being alone. It's hard.
That's actually a scary idea for me. I would never want to be alone.
I'd rather spend time with my friends.
I'd definitely rather be with my friends.
Just hang out by yourself? I don't know. I like it. I'm an only child, that's why.
No, I like spending time alone sometimes.
I do spend some time alone. It helps me clear my mind.
When you're alone, no one puts thoughts in your heads, and then you get to really know who you are.
Yeah, I need alone time.
Sure I do, yeah.
Definitely, because like, you are who you are when you're alone.
I feel more content with just being by myself. Usually that's just where like I can find like my own like inner peace.
I enjoy spending time alone.
Just sometimes I need a little space and, you know, not to be bothered. Sometimes when I'm in a bad mood.
Being alone is not something to be afraid of.
For some of us, being alone is a scary concept.
We are so used to being surrounded by friends and family.
Maybe we always have a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Or we just keep really busy with clubs and sports so that we don't ever have to experience the feeling of loneliness that makes us cringe.
But always being with someone all the time can have a downside.
If we begin to rely on someone to always be at our side,
what happens in those situations when they just can't be there with us?
Learning to be alone, that's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Nick.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Real Faith TV.
The teens on the street shared some of their views on why they like time alone,
while others avoided it whenever possible.
We'll hear from them again a little later in the show, as well as meet our studio guests.
But first, let's meet our spotlight guest, Marietta, an RFTV cast member.
She shares why she thinks being lonely and alone are two very different things.
And why she needs alone time. Let's check it out.
The difference of being alone and being lonely is a feeling that you have. Like, you could be in a group with 100 people and you can still feel lonely. Being alone is like being by yourself in solitude. I like being alone because it gives me time to think. I'm really into music, so it gives me time to think about what I want to do with music, and it gives me time to sing and not have any interruptions. Like, I just close the door and I record. I don't feel like I have to be with others at all times or dating someone, because then you don't have your own opinion on things, and their thoughts and opinions start to come into your decisions. Well, when I come home from school, I was with everybody all day, and you hear stuff from them, maybe that you agree with or that you don't agree with. And when I come home, I just like to be alone because it gives me time to regroup my thoughts and start thinking for myself again. I feel like I need my alone time because then I don't have any outside influences upon my decisions.
I really liked what Marietta said, like, we're always surrounded by people at school, at activities, that to find out who we are and to really connect with who we are, we need to be alone.
Yep, I like how she said we need alone time to exactly find out who we are. Yeah. All right, Rach, let's meet our studio guests.
Okay, they are Caitlin, Jonathan, Drew, Ariana, Annie, Stephanie, and Jules.
So do you guys feel that you need alone time, or would you always prefer being with others?
I definitely really like having my own alone time. I'm an introverted person, so even though that doesn't mean that I'm shy necessarily, but I like to do a lot of things by myself, like reading, or I play piano, so if I'm practicing for like a couple hours at a time, that's like myself in solitude, sometimes just like in a practice room by myself, staying focused alone.
I prefer to be with others because you're an introverted person. I'm an extroverted person. I really like the company of my friends, and my friends are good company. You know, we keep each other from making, you know, poor decisions and things of that nature, but it's just a good feeling for me to have other people around because we're doing fun things that we love to do. I feel I do need some alone time, but mostly time with others.
I agree with you. I prefer to be with my friends most of the time, but yes, you do need sometimes to alone to like gather yourself and like recharge your batteries, I guess.
I usually like being alone because I spend hours and hours in my room, just like, you know, sitting in my room thinking about life. But when I do go out, I do hang out with my friends. I do spend time with them. I spend time with my family. But I more prefer being alone because that's just how I am.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize that we choose to be alone sometimes, to like you said, to work on music. But there's some people who are just lonely. And I worked at a nursing home last week, and just seeing how lonely these people were, that they don't have that opportunity. We choose to be alone. We like to be alone to strengthen who we are, to find God being alone. But when you're lonely, it's just visiting them. I got to see the God in them, and they got to see the God in me, and it's just being company for people who are truly lonely.
I agree. I think when you're lonely, not by choice, it's kind of like one of the worst things ever. But I'm kind of like in the middle of an introvert and an extrovert. Like, whenever I want to have a good time, I love to be around people, like, you know, playing Just Dance or, you know, chilling with my friends. But I really have like a cycle of being alone, and like, especially when I have a problem, where I'll think about it to myself, and then I'll go and I'll talk about it with other people, and then I will like take their opinions in, and I'll decide again with myself. So I'm kind of all around, but basically in the middle.
I love spending time with my friends and family and just doing fun stuff together, but there is always that time that I need to have my alone time and just to regroup my thoughts and reflect on things that might be troubling me or things that I need to think about and make decisions about.
We all enjoy spending time with others, but having interests outside your group of friends can help strengthen your self-image.
It can be intimidating to join a new group alone.
But sometimes you can't get anyone to go with you.
And you just need to do things alone to build your own confidence.
To meet new people or experience new things.
Next, the teens on the street tell us if they need to be with someone all of the time.
Do you feel like you always have to be with others or dating someone?
No, I do not, because I know that no matter what, God's on my side, and I don't need anybody but Him to help me find my way.
I don't feel like I need to be with someone.
I'm a terrible single person, so I do like being in a relationship because there's that one person that you can come to, confide in.
I don't necessarily need to, you know, grab onto someone's shoulder. You need a shoulder to cry, and I could take care of it myself.
It's nice to have company around.
I don't always have to be with someone.
Not at all. I don't believe that people like always have to be with their date or their love or stuff.
I think you have to have some like sort of independence also, though. You can't just have to rely on somebody else.
No, I can be alone by myself from time to time.
I like my own private space sometimes. I think it's important.
I'm pretty independent. I can be alone.
I feel like I should always be with my friends, but dating somebody isn't really necessary.
No, I feel like sometimes it's good to like be single and like be by yourself, because it like helps you like have a different view on things.
I feel like I have my own independency, so it's just it's really easy for me to be like by myself a lot.
I really don't think I need to be dating anybody.
I don't really like to date at this age because I like to be alone and I like to make my own decisions and not be affected by anyone else.
I'm in relationships a lot, actually, I'm not gonna lie, but I guess you can be alone, do your own thing. That's a good thing too.
Actually, just kind of got out of the whole relationship thing. Things just weren't really working out, so. But before that, I used to keep to myself. After it, I'm keeping to myself. I'm more of a solo kind of guy.
I dated a girl for a week. We dated for 6 years, and this summer is like my first summer actually being alone, and it's kind of weird for me because at this point it's like I don't really know what I want anymore.
Knowing what we want,
or rather what we need at times, can be really difficult.
Daily demands can drain us.
The fast-paced world we live in adds a lot of pressures.
And there are times we all need to recharge our batteries for the challenges that may lie right around the corner.
These daily pressures can really take a toll on us.
Let's go back to the teens on the street and see how they recharge.
The best way for me to relax is probably like meditating, really.
I like listening to music, exercising, biking.
Listening to music.
I write my own music, so I sit down, I write, make my own music, DJ, sit in my room with my friends, play video games.
You know, TV, reading, and video games for me.
I usually just sit home and watch TV and just not think about anything else that's going on.
Hanging out with friends and just relaxing, like on the couch and doing whatever.
Like watching movies, sitting by the pool, whatever.
Yeah, take a walk on the beach, just go to my room, listen to music, and chill out.
Like on the beach or whatnot, like just relaxing. And
working out or playing basketball.
I dance and sing in the mirror like a fool.
Put a TV on light volume for 15, 20 minutes, go to sleep, you wake up, I feel like a completely different person, to be honest.
Sleeping or relaxing, watching TV.
I like to read.
Take a nap. I sleep. I'm a very lazy person.
Listen like to music and watch TV. And then maybe afterwards I might pray a little bit. I pray at night, I take naps, play basketball. I watch TV, I go on the computer, you know, the normal stuff.
One of the ways that I relax and refocus when I'm alone is I like to meditate. Most of the time it's prayerful, but some of the times it's just laying down and putting on music and clearing my mind. But when I'm doing that prayerful meditation, my mind completely quiets down, and I can really hear what God is trying to say to me and what I need to do in my life and fix in myself. And in the non-prayerful way, my mind just completely clears, and I can think so much clearer about whatever problems I'm having in life. And that's my way of really relaxing.
I also really like to prayerfully meditate, to reflect on things that have been going on in my life. And I find that for myself, I like to start by doing some spiritual reading. Because I think sometimes, like, if I want to think about stuff, like, I kind of don't know where to start, or I'm so, like, scatterbrained with everything that's going on that I just, like, can't focus. So I'll, like, pick up a book and just go to, like, some random spot, and, like, then whatever that's about, then I can take that to prayer and see how it applies to my life. And then other times, like how you said that you meditate just not prayerfully. Sometimes, like, for mental health, I think it can be good to just do something completely mindless and just not think too hard. That can be good too.
Yeah, I like to, put my headphones in with music and just go on a nice walk and just calm down and look at everything around me and just think and be thankful for everything that I have.
For me to relax, I usually read or play the piano because it really clears my mind and it makes me have a better outlook.
I read and I write, so I'll write, like, I'm writing a book right now, so I just take some time, like, maybe if I'm feeling like some emotion, I'll maybe write it down on paper through the story, or I'll just sit in my bed and read and listen to music at the same time.
Yeah, I think that there's, like, a certain power to group prayer when we all gather and we all hold hands and we pray together. There's just this powerful feeling, but I also think that praying alone can really produce a powerful feeling. And I know a recent type of prayer that I just learned is called gifts and challenges, where you look through your whole day, every moment. Where you ate breakfast, who you ate breakfast with, and you just go through your day and say, where did I see God, or where didn't I see God, and where can I strive to see God? And I just think that when you do that by yourself, it's a self-examination. It's kind of like meditation, but on a more spiritual level. So that's what I like to do when I pray by myself.
Like a lot of you guys have said, I also pray, but I don't really meditate or, like, read any scripture or anything. I'm more of, like, I just talk to God, and I kind of give up my problems of the day to Him, or of the week, or some of the prayers I have for other people in my life, anything that I really need to just give up. And when I need to just kind of clear my head, I tend, like a lot of the teens on the street, I take a nap, or I take a bubble bath, or just read, or anything. So,
going off what you said, I think prayer is the best way to relax. I pray the rosary twice a day, and I say the Lectio Divina, and I think it's just totally recharges your battery for what you have coming for you next.
Before me and my sister go to school, we say a couple prayers to start our day and just help us relax before we go to school. If we think we're going to have, like, a stressful day, or if, like, a big project is coming up, I say a couple prayers and just ask God to be with me, to help me relax and be at peace with myself, to help me get through the day and get through any big events that are going to be happening, and just know that He's there with me.
So while we need time to relax and recharge,
we also need time alone to grow and discover who we really are.
Time away from other people's opinions and influences.
Next, we ask the teens on the street how time alone helps them grow.
Let's check it out.
Spending time alone can help us grow because you need to find happiness within yourself to be able to make other people happy.
Gives you time to think to yourself, learn, think things through.
When you're there alone, you could actually figure out who you really are, what you really like to do.
It really helps me to become, like, who I am, I guess.
You just kind of figure out who you are.
You find out what you like.
It gives you time to sit and think, like, get thoughts, not just hear what other people say, think to yourself.
Getting my thoughts straight and just fixing my life.
Think more about life and myself and other people, and I've taken those into, like, consideration and changed them.
You can decide on your own. You have no other peer pressure, no other stress in your life. Like, it's just you, and you just know what to do. Like,
spending time alone gives you a chance to really think about what's going on in your life and gives you a chance to become not more independent, but get to think about yourself without having other people's opinions in.
I feel like this generation, everything that you do is affected by other people, and when you're alone, there's nothing else. Like, there's nothing affecting you. You do what you want.
Sometimes being alone can make you a stronger person, I guess. You don't always need your friends to be there to help you out. Sometimes you just need to figure stuff out on your own.
There are many examples of Jesus seeking solitude because of the demands on his life.
Before starting his ministry, Jesus went into the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights.
He knew that in the solitude he could better reflect on his life without distraction and ask for God's guidance.
He also chose time for quiet on the mountain just before choosing the 12 apostles.
In both situations, Jesus sought time alone to pray and reflect on what he needed to do.
And he asked God the Father for help and direction.
Next, Marietta talks about a time when being alone wasn't her choice, but shares how God helped her get through it.
And how he continues to guide her today when she seeks time.
Let's hear her now.
Being alone can help someone grow as a person because it gives you time to think on your own, and it gives you time to do what you like to do. When my mom had cancer, because it's only me and her in the house, she was always in bed. She didn't want to eat or anything. I grew up fast when I was 6 and 7. I tried, at least, to cook for her and use the stove for the first time. That wasn't a very good experience, but I didn't know what was happening because of my age. I knew that she was sick. I didn't know how serious it was. I turned to God a lot and I prayed a lot because my mom, sometimes she had to stay in the hospital overnight and I had to stay at someone else's house. One time my mom had to go to the hospital, so she missed my birthday, and that was really hard for me. That was the only birthday she ever missed, but it was hard. My mom influences my opinions a lot, so now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to think for myself. When I'm alone, I just have time to regroup my thoughts, and I get to think on my own. It's very essential to me.
How can spending time alone with God help you grow as a person?
I think it can make you stronger to know that when you're spending time alone with God, that God's always there for you and he will always be there for you.
Growing up in such a strong Catholic family, I've always kind of known, that I'm Catholic, but I've reached a point, or had reached a point, where I was really confused and I didn't exactly know what I believed because I was getting independent. And when I take that time, have taken that time to just be quiet and reflect and listen to God, it's helped me realize that, yes, this is what I believe, and it's helped me grow closer to God because I've taken that time to look into myself and figure out what I believe. And it's also helped me kind of reach a vocation, and there are a lot of different things that you can learn and grow from just listening to yourself and growing independent and listening to God.
I just know that God will always be there for me through thick and thin, and I can always tell him anything, no matter what time of the day it is or where I am.
I think if you're having troubles in your life or things that are kind of roadblocking you from getting closer to God, you could just always push through and just, pray more and talk to him and just reach out to him. And, that can sort of help you grow in your faith and your relationship to God.
I think like some of the teens on the street were saying earlier, I think that spending time alone helps me to better figure out who I am as a person. So in different times, I'm very analytical, so I like to look at things that have happened in the past, whether it's with relationships with other people or just past decisions, and think why did I do this or what could I have done better? And then I think going forward from there, it helps me, that self-knowledge helps me to make better decisions in the future, and knowing myself helps me to feel more confident and then more able to grow closer to God.
I agree with you, and by reflecting on your past decisions, it can make me grow as a person to not make those same mistakes again.
I just think it's so striking how even Jesus, who was the Son of God, needed time alone, and just how sometimes we want to take on all the world's problems and we want to change the world, and we should change the world, but sometimes it just seems like there's so much that we can do, and sometimes we just need to be by ourselves and to go, like Jesus went into the garden and just was by himself. And so we need to do that so that we have a chance to grow in ourselves and who we are. And so I think Jesus is a great role model of not only helping others, but of also being alone.
In Matthew chapter 6, Jesus tells us,
"But when you pray, go to your inner room.
Close the door and pray to your Father in secret.
And your Father, who sees in secret, will repay you."
There is a real power and freedom in being alone.
And God asks us to be alone with him.
It's up to us to set aside time.
Next, we ask the teens on the street if spending time alone with God can help them grow as a person.
Let's hear them now.
Spending time alone with God can make you understand things. It'll make you
think the closer you are with God, the more goals you will succeed, the farther you will develop in life.
I think it's important to have faith in someone, you know, like God, but I don't think him or it helps you to grow as a person.
I really don't believe in God that much, but I feel like he can help you, like you're talking to him and you feel like he's going to answer your prayers, and that gives you confidence to actually go and try it yourself without knowing it, thinking that God is there helping you.
He could maybe help you find a way out of something and make something better for you.
I mean, you could become close to him, you become connected to him. So, I mean, the more time you spend with him, I say the better off you would be. You just gotta give him the time, though.
When you're spending time alone with God, you hear his voice so much more. It's in there. It's like he's next to you.
Next, Marietta tells us that we are never alone because God is always there for us.
Let's check it out.
When I have a problem that I don't really want to talk to anybody about, like I can't talk to my mom because she'll judge me, I can't talk to my friends because they'll judge me, or I feel like they'll judge me, I turn to God because I feel he is the only one that won't judge me. He'll just help me with my problems. And then that gives me time to come to terms with myself before I tell other people, like my friends and family. As Christian Catholics, we are never really alone because God is always there. He is always there when we need him for guidance or whatever we need, really. Every time we're alone with God, our relationship just grows with him. He helps us through everything we need. You just talk to him whenever you want. And when we were younger, it was more making deals, and you asked for everything that you can think of, that little piece of candy, that extra piece of cake. As you grow, you start asking for less and less, and you start to be independent, and you just ask for the important things in life. We asked him to help us through the hard times that we're starting to have. My prayer life has grown a lot because I feel like I'm a lot closer to him now because I did pray a lot, and now when I need him, I know he's there.
How can spending time alone with God help to strengthen your relationship with him?
We were talking before about how there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. And being alone by choice, you know, you can take time and pray, but I've also found that loneliness for me can also be a way of growing closer to God. Like there was one time during my first year of college, right before a break, and a lot of my friends were going home or had already gone home that night, and I was like really wanting company, and like it was just finding like people were either gone home or going to bed and there was no one around. And I felt like really like, well, this is annoying, like this is frustrating. I want to be around people. And then I started thinking like when Jesus was on the cross, like almost everyone was leaving him. And like he probably would have really loved, you know, some more comfort, some more people there to help him through. And then I was like, you know, obviously like me just like randomly feeling like a little lonely like is nothing compared to what he endured for us. So even through like a little bit, like a small experience like that, it was a way of identifying with Christ. And I think that like identifying with his suffering helped me to push through that and find him in that moment.
One person I know said, prayer is our relationship with God. So I think just like meeting a new friend, you talk, you get each other's numbers, you text, and you build up your relationship. I think that's what we have to do in prayer. And that's what I do in prayer is, since prayer is my relationship with God, I just keep like executing that relationship, so eventually it builds up to something so strong.
I think doing spiritual activities like praying or like joining a youth group or just, you know, spending time with your family and saying, hey, let's do a prayer together or let's say the rosary, I think that could really strengthen your faith with him.
Yeah, like when I went to a youth conference, there was a time when the leader just said, I want everybody to be quiet. And there was 23,000 people in one room. And just the power of being silent. And we were each in a conversation with God, yet we each knew him individually. So we were each growing together, yet separately. So I just think that there's so much power in silence and feeling alone when you're part of a crowd. It's just, sometimes it could be a bad feeling, but I mean, at that one moment, it was just so strong. And I just felt just so, like I wanted to give so much praise right at that moment.
Time alone allows us to be open to God.
To hear him with our heart, mind, and soul.
He does not want us to be lonely or in constant solitude,
but rather in communion with him and others.
After all, we believe God is a trinity of 3 persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
And we are made in God's image and likeness.
So God wants us to be in a relationship to the Trinity and to others.
So how can spending time alone with God help strengthen your faith?
We'd love to know.
Contact us at realfaithtv.com.
Or share your thoughts with us on Twitter.
And we'll leave you today with this from John chapter 16.
A time is coming, and in fact has come, when you will be scattered,
each to your own home.
You will leave me all alone.
Yet I am not alone, for my Father is with me.
I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace.
In this world you will have trouble, but take heart.
I have overcome the world.
We only need to ask God for help.
And He will show us the way.
Thank you for watching.
We'll see you next time on
Real Faith TV.
God bless.